Sunday sit-down time. With me now virtually is our good friend Dave Matter from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Dave, how do you enjoy your Mizzou football bye week, a second bye week of the season so far?
Kind of nice, it was came at a good time. Nice weather weekend at least, so spent some time with the family and kind of laid low. And knock on wood, there wasn't any kind of major breaking news, so it went well.
Yeah. So far it was definitely a good another week off for us. What do you think for Coach Drinkwitz? What was he trying to key in on this week to get the Tigers kind of back in the win column after a disappointing loss to Florida?
I think more than anything, you got to let your team get healthy. They are banged up on both lines of scrimmage, really. Now you've got some guys that are going to be out for at least the first half of this next game with the suspension. You've got some injuries along the offensive line. There's things you can always shore up on defensively. Tackling, for one, wasn't very good in that game. It's been pretty good all season long, but just wasn't good in that Florida game. Offensively, just wasn't very sharp. They turned the ball over a few times. They're not really creating turnovers on defense. They had the big one at Florida, but just not enough. So there's plenty for this team to work on. I mean, they've given themselves a lot of areas where they can just sharpen up for the second half of the season.
Do you think Mizzou's feeling maybe a little bit better about that loss to Florida after what the Gators just did to Georgia on Saturday?
I would say if that game was a little bit more competitive and they played better, then maybe you come out of this past week and feeling a little better. But I didn't think Missouri played very well. They just didn't give themselves a chance to win that game. Even if Florida is maybe better now than anyone thought, you still got to play well to give yourself a chance, and they didn't. And they have shown that now twice on the road. It's a bit of a trend. They just haven't looked like a really well-coached, disciplined team on the road.
Well, they get a home game, 11 a.m. kickoff against Georgia this coming Saturday. Of course, Mizzou's the underdog coming in, but do you think the Tigers have a chance to knock off Georgia, who just, came out and lost to Florida?
Yeah, I think there's a chance, sure. I mean, for one, we don't really know what Georgia is playing for at this point. I mean, obviously the East isn't over, but Florida's in the driver's seat at this point. And Georgia's got a couple losses to Alabama and to Florida, two decisive losses. I mean, they weren't all that competitive in the second half. They kind of made it a game a little bit against Florida, but Florida had the upper hand almost that entire game. And they've got some injuries, too. They are really banged up. I think they were down maybe 5-6 starters by the end of that game Saturday. Again, you just don't really know what the motivation will be like for that team that went into the season expecting to make the playoffs, and now, they're on the outside looking in of just the SEC championship. So, they don't have a very imposing offense. They don't really put the ball in the air very much. They can run the ball well. They still have a good